Every man knows that the time will come when his days on this plane will expire. It may appear that the request of loved ones do not get accepted during these times, but surely mankind is not expected to play the game of life forever. Man cries out for those that transition, stating that they were so young or that it was unfair to take such a beautiful soul. But in the grand scheme of things, both 1 year as well as 100 years on this planet are just a glimpse of the magnificence within eternity. No, not even death is an unanswered prayer. From the days of his youth, man understands that his entire life is spent on the doorsteps of death, having no idea when the great architect will summon him. He requests, even if it is on a subconscious level, that once this game is over, his creator welcomes him back in. So this final request, just like those properly submitted at other points in life, is granted. I got an interesting phone call this morning, man. I was taking my son to school and I just got a random phone call, right? Now, normally I don't answer phone calls if I'm not expecting a call or if I don't know whose number it is, right? But it was coming from the 903 area code, and that's home. So I said, I got to pick up the 903 calls, right? So I picked it up, and it was a brother named Wesley McClinton out of Tyler, Texas, man. And the brother was like, hey, what's going on, Brother Soul? You're like, I just want to call you, man, and tell you that I appreciate what you're doing. Like, I've been watching your videos for some years, and I just appreciate and admire like the effort you put out and what you're putting out to the world. I'm like, bro, like that means the world to me. Like, comments like that mean more than any dollar amount, anything mean, man. So I told the brother, like, I really appreciate it. And then the brother just kind of started walking me through his path of enlightenment, man. He said, you know what, man, like at some point in life, I kind of just observed myself and said, you know, I looked around and looked at the way I was spending my money. You know, I had the garage full of toys and all this stuff. And he said, man, if I could, you know, spend money on these things, then surely I could spend money and invest that money in myself, right? So long story short, the brother said, you know, a couple of years ago, man, I made that leap. He said I was on my job for 14 years. He was working in the coal mines of East Texas, right? He said I was on my job for 14 years and I just made that leap. He said I bought my first piece of equipment and started my company, which is W&M Dirt Works out of East Texas, out of Tyler, Texas, right? You know, it's crazy how the smallest thing can alter a man's life or can alter a man's experience. You know, it may be something as simple as making a right at a traffic light instead of a left, and you end up meeting, you know, the woman that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It could be something as simple as, you know, going to one side of town to pump gas and encountering somebody that you never would have encountered that you end up, you know, starting a business with. Or it could be something as simple as, you know, answering a phone call when you typically don't answer phone calls, right? The smallest thing, man, can alter your life, man. And I'm gonna tell you one thing I'm glad about, man, is I'm glad that on that day of November 17th, 2021, man, that I answered the phone call of Brother West, because it definitely altered my life in a positive way, man. And the thing is this, man, I didn't understand that Brother West and I, or that Brother West was my best friend until he passed away. Because you got to understand, I only knew him for a small period of time. I only knew him from November of 2021 to September of 2023. So I knew that brother for only about, you know, roughly 22 months. And I can easily say, man, that he went from a stranger to a best friend, brothers. I can easily say that, man. You know, and one reason I say that is because this is the brother that I shared some of my deepest experiences with. You know, this is the brother that I bounced some of the heaviest of ideas off of, man. And this is the brother, you know, when I look back at it, man, you know, me knowing this brother for, you know, roughly 22 months, you can probably count only maybe 20 days total in that period of time where him and I didn't have a phone conversation, a text, you know, maybe share a YouTube video or share a quote or something. So there was just always an exchange of information, an exchange of knowledge, always an exchange of forward growth with this brother, man, at all times, man. You gotta understand, I didn't even meet this brother for the whole first year of me knowing him. I didn't even have any physical contact with him. It was simply on the phone. And I think one thing that brought us close together, man, you know, especially him being a younger brother, Wes was in his 30s, is I can just remember from day one us talking, he was at a certain stage of his awakening that I could identify with. I remember one of our first conversations, he was like, "Hey man, have you ever heard of Bobby Hemmett? You ever heard of," he just started naming a lot of guys in that sector. I'm like, "Bro, yeah, man, I've been listening to them guys, man, for probably, 20 years, man." And we would kind of just have a lot of conversation, surrounding that part of his awakening, of that part of him understanding who he is and what he's able to do and how he can create it. It was just a beautiful thing, man. And I think that's what brought us close together. But like I say, I didn't meet Wes for the whole first year. I didn't meet Wes until our first Power Circle meeting where we all came together in Atlanta of a year later, right? And I can remember, man, and I'm gonna tell you about one thing I learned about that visit concerning the Power Circle. That's when I really understood how powerful the Power Circle was, man, energetically. Because I can remember, there was a lot of time. That was the first time for a lot of us brothers meeting. We've been having Zoom calls and phone calls for over a year. I can remember we came together, man. I remember when I first landed and hit the hotel, it was me, Wes, and a brother named Cam. We all linked up, man. We were there kind of early, and we went to the mall, and it's just three brothers walking through the mall, man. You got to understand, them brothers are tall. Wes was a 6+ foot brother. Cam is a 6+ foot brother, man. And we were just walking through the mall, and we all noticed the same thing that we didn't talk about until later, man. People were looking at us like guys, bro. Real talk, because we had generated this energy in the circle for so long. Even when we got to the hotel, we had our meeting on the balcony, man. We were overlooking the city. And I can remember like a lot of the ladies, man, a lot of the brothers were walking by, and they would kind of just chime in and say, like, who are y'all brothers? Like we can tell there is something different about y'all. What are y'all about? What are y'all doing? It was a vibe, man. Everybody that came in our area, brother, was like, what do y'all have going on? Who are y'all brothers, man? It was a powerful experience. It was a beautiful thing. But I can remember, man, toward the end of that Power Circle meeting, I had time to spend some one-on-one time on the roof with Wes, man, and we were having some deep conversation. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I learned a lot from Brother Wes, man. Especially with him being, so much younger than me, man. One thing I learned about this brother, man, was he was a big thinker. I'm not saying he showed me how to think big, but brother, he always confirmed in me, man, or reassured me, brother, that we got to think big. I can remember that same meeting, November of that year, man. Me and Wes and I were standing on the rooftop of the hotel, man. Again, overlooking the city, man. And he said, "You know what, brother? I think I'm gonna move to the A." Wes lived in East Texas, and y'all heard me talk about the vibe of East Texas. There was a lot of our conversation. He said, "I think I'm gonna just relocate, man, and expand here in Atlanta, man." And you gotta understand, man, Wes had a family in East Texas, man. His kids were in school, his wife was in position, he had a business, his construction business was established in East Texas. And the brother said, "I'm gonna make this move." So he thought big, man. Even when I talked to him about his past, when he talked about when he was working in the coal mine and he was thinking about, moving forward, doing his own thing, it was always thinking above status quo. It was always thinking, he was always saying, I have to think above, the standard of everybody around me, man. So thinking big was even in his last days, the conversations we were having, the brother was getting ready to call big plays. The brother was already calling huge plays, man. So he was just always a reminder, man, to think big, man. Another thing I learned from Wes, man, is to always ignore the naysayers. And I say this all the time, man. You have to understand this, man. You have to understand that when you're getting ready to call plays in life, when you're getting ready to make moves, when you're getting ready to make decisions that are going to alter your life, you have to understand that a lot of people in your circle, you have to understand that a lot of people that are relatives, that have been friends from day one, you got to understand, man, that a lot of people are going to be sitting back scratching their heads saying, bro, I don't think that's the right decision. And you have to understand, man, that they're still thinking with their limited minds. That's why you have to be very careful on even sharing ideas with certain people. Because when people, give you their feedback, they're going to give you the feedback from their limitation, their cap, their belief. You know what I'm saying? Their connection with source energy. And Wes, man, I can just remember a lot of conversations we had, man, about just experiences that he had with family and friends and people that he used to work with. That when he threw an idea out there, man, he was like, man, they're always trying to shoot. And I said, Wes, man, like you can't share this type information with everybody. Like if you don't know 100% that somebody's on your team and willing to lend a hand on helping you fulfill your mission or send you good vibes in the process, brother, don't tell them till it's said and done. Don't tell them till it's said and done, man. Another thing I observed from that brother, man, that I loved and was a reminder was, to live life with blinders on. To live life with blinders on. Again, I've said this a million times, man. It was just good to see a man taking this information, man, and utilizing it. In other words, focusing. In other words, when he said, you know what, I'm going to put my mind to something. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to move to the A. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. That was the goal, and there was no other alternative around it. Like there was no other option. Failure of not doing that was not an option. Kind of like the book, A Singular Truth. The brother had a singular truth. When he said, hey, you know what? When we sit on that rooftop, man, he said, you know what? I think I'm going to move to the A. When him and I talked anytime after that, there was no conversation surrounding him not doing that. And due to his habits and just the way he moved, he completed that task in a very short amount of time. In less than a year. In less than a year, man, he had uprooted everything and relocated to Atlanta, man. Had relocated to Atlanta. Another thing I observed about this brother, man, that I speak on, again, I speak on heavily in the book, is the power of union. And this is one brother, man, that I believe, this is one area I believe this brother excelled in. Because, and when I say the power of union, I'm specifically talking about the relationship he had with his wife. There was not, you guys understand, me and this brother talked all the time. There was not a point in time where he was not, talking about, these ideas and talk about his forward movement and not always saying and not always including his wife in the project or putting his wife in the picture. And at first, I understood that. I thought that, this brother just loves his wife, man. Like, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. But Wes understood the power of union. He understood the power of him being in his masculinity, her being in her femininity, and how that incorporates God into his life, and how he can move at light speed, understanding that. I always say, man, that most people, by far the majority of people that are in relationships, by far the majority of people that are married, they may love each other. She might got a big dong, he might got a bag, but they don't understand the power of union. They don't understand that when two come together, like I talk about in the book, first marriage, second marriage, third marriage, they don't understand that when two come together, that God is there also. And then that's when mountains can be easily moved. Wes understood that. Because every single thing he talked about, man, he always incorporated the energy of his wife. The energy of his wife, man. So yeah, that was the first time I met Wes, man, and I can say that after we had that physical meeting in Atlanta, our relationship, man, it got stronger and stronger. The brother would come to Dallas, and spend some time with me, man. He may stay with me. I remember he would always shoot up here, man, and we would always just try a different vegan restaurant. The brother had went plant-based and or primarily plant-based and juices and certain herbs and vitamins and it lost, man, a lot of weight, maybe like over 100 pounds. So when he came to the D, man, we would hit different restaurants, whether it was Vegan Vibrations, whether it was, XYZ. And I can remember one time, brothers, he came to visit and we, he was riding with me, man, and I pulled back up in the garage and I'm sitting there, of course I put it in park and I'm getting ready to cut the car off. And he said, man, I had one of the realest conversations, man, that I've ever had, bro. We're sitting there in the car in the garage, and Wes said, he said, you know what, man? He said, you my brother, man. He said, I know, we haven't known each other long, but you my brother. Like you my brother. And I said, you know what, man? Like I feel the same way, man. Like you my bro. And man, we sit there in the car for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just having a conversation like I've never had with another brother. Talking about just some real stuff. You have to understand, man. I've gone to war with brothers. I've been in combat with brothers, man, and done things that I have to try to forget. And I've still never had a conversation with another man on that level. So it just instantly created a whole nother level of brotherhood, right? I can remember one time when Wes was here, and I had there was a sister in town, a friend of mine. She came to visit, right? And she knows how I move. She knows that I don't entertain a lot of people. She knows that I don't let anybody in my house. She knows that I don't let anybody. I'm not talking to anybody on my phone. She understands. She's been knowing me a long time. She understands how I move, right? And Wes happened to be over here when she was here. And she see Wes, because when Wes was here, I said, you home, bro. She see Wes going in the refrigerator. He might be walking around in wife beater and shorts, talking to his wife on the phone, like he lived here, right? He might need to go somewhere, man. I'm saying, you know what? Take my ride, man. Take it, come back when you want to. Go to, do what you got to do. And I can remember, man, one day Wes was in my car. I think he was going to the grocery store or something. And she said, how long you been knowing Wes? I said, man, at that time I said, man, I don't know. I probably been knowing him, just a short amount of time, And she was like, that's crazy because I would have thought you've been knowing that guy your whole life. She said, I've never seen you interact or even talk about another person like that. She said, I can't believe you haven't been knowing him that long. So that was just the kind of relationship that Wes and I had, man. That was my brother. So I can remember, man, and this was not long before Wes passed away. He came to visit me this past October. The brother had relocated to Atlanta already. He was coming back to Texas to top, a lot of loose ends and finish some business up. And I remember picking him up from the airport, man, and we was just chopping up, man, laughing. And I remember I started to fire the camera up and make some content that day, brother. I wish I would have, looking back, man. But we were just cutting up, man. Went and had some good vegan food as always, turn blocks. And I remember that night, we went to my son's football game, right? So we sitting there watching my son play football, man, and we just having that talk we always have, man, that God talk. And he's just telling me about these moves he's gonna make. And again, it was just Wes being Wes, just thinking outside the box. Just by first observing his box, like this is the play I've called. Now I'm in the A. This is what I'm doing. Now I'm getting ready to do this. Now I'm taking these courses. Now I'm bouncing ideas off these mentors of mine. And I was like, that's just Wes being Wes, man. And I can remember we were having a conversation, man. And I'm like, bro, we got to finish this conversation. And he left and he went on back to East Texas, back where he was originally staying before he moved to Atlanta, to take care of some business and get some work done, right? And then I can remember this, man. I can remember us talking on the phone and having a conversation about the Power Circle meeting coming up, about what I was going to be talking about. And I can remember on that Power Circle call that morning, that last Sunday morning of September, I believe it was September the 3rd, the day he passed away. I'm on the Power Circle call and I'm talking about something and I bring Wes up Because I say Wes's name, looking for him on the Zoom call, thinking, I said, this is what we were talking about, looking for Wes. And I brought Wes's name up and something he shared with me, and I didn't see him. I said, well, I guess he got caught up, man. Not knowing that really close to that very moment, man, he had just passed away or was passing away at that time, man. And I remember getting a phone call from a friend of his, one of his mentors, that called and broke the news to me. And it was hard, bro. I remember I had to send an email out, man, to the brothers in the circle. A lot of brothers in the circle were sad about that. And this is the weird thing, man. This is the weird thing. I can remember the last conversation very clearly that Wes and I had. I can remember it was a couple of days after he had left, going to East Texas to take care of that business. And I believe I was on a consultation. I was doing something while I was tied up, but I saw the phone ring and I saw he was calling, and I just denied it because I'm in the middle of. And about 3 or 4 seconds later, boom, the phone rung again, and it was him again. And I'm like, that's not like Wes to call back to back, because he knows how, when we move, we tied up, we get back later. And I denied it again. I finished what I was doing, and I called him up, man. And the conversation was weird. Not saying almost as if he knew his days were limited, but this is the conversation, man. I remember I said, what's going on, brother? I saw you call. He said, man, I just want to tell you, man, I'm proud of you, brother. He's like, I'm proud of you, man. He said, man, I've been watching you for this, man. You've gone through this phase in life and this phase in life and this phase in life. And now you talking about doing this and doing bigger things and making different moves. He said, man, I just simply wanted to tell you I was proud of you, bro. And you got to understand that Wes, even though Wes was close to, 10 years younger than me, 11 years younger than me, he had an old soul. The way he talked, the way he moved, his demeanor, his conversation was if he was in his 40s, maybe even 50s. If you know Wes, you understand what I'm talking about. And I can remember saying, bro, like that means the world, man. And I remember saying, bro, man, like I'm proud of you too, man. And I went down through there on things he's done and plays he's called and things he was getting ready to do. And we got off the phone. And I had no idea that would be the last time I would talk to him. But I can say this, man, this is one thing I'm grateful for. I'm glad, like I can't think of a better conversation to have with a man, to have with a human being, if it's going to be my last conversation. If I'm going to have a last conversation with a man, and I know I'm not going to ever talk to him again, that's the conversation I want to have. And I'm gonna tell you this, man, I'm grateful for that, man. I learned a whole lot from that brother. The way he loved his kids, the way he loved his wife, the way he loved people. That I believe that's why me and that brother, we formed a bond so short, because his foundation was love. His foundation was like, if I just lead with love, everything else would play its part. Like if I gotta dust somebody off, if I gotta tap into that extreme part of my darkness, I can and I will. But I have to leave with love, man. There are very few men that I've met in my life that move like that, man. And I can say this, man. There's one more valuable lesson I learned from Brother Wes, man. And it's that life is about quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? Like I always talk about, I said, man, you know what? My goal is to live 100 years old. Like I want to live to be 100 years old, man. And on my 100th birthday, man, I just want to lay back and pretty much pick my own casket out type vibe, right? But Wes taught me, man. Wes taught me something, really the same thing that I talk about when I talk about my brother Phil. When I made a video some years ago, a friend of mine that passed, man, taught me, man, that it's about quality over quantity, man. It's not about living to be 100. It's about appreciating and showing gratitude 100% of every day. And one thing it made me do, man, is like when I talk to friends of mine now, when I'm visiting my mother and my family and friends, and when I'm spending time with people I'm in a relationship, I'm present in that moment. I'm saying, you know what, man, like we might not live to see another day. Like this could be our last interaction. This could be our last phone call. This could be our last text. This could be our last power circle meeting. This could be our last date. It's like let's appreciate it and understand it and be present in this moment and extract everything from this moment as if it's our last. And he made me understand, man, that it's not about being 100, man. Let me just appreciate this day and everything in it, man. But again, man, Brother West was a one of a kind brother, man. And I just think about the butterfly effect. I think about how just me answering that one phone call, man, just completely changed my life, brothers.
I was just reflecting and thinking, like, since that's been moved, different turning point in my life, time done sped up. It have like things now is just, I mean, like boom, and the knowledge I know for seeing things clearer, and it's something different, like with the energy of even going around people. You know, I'm not the same. I'm not. And like, I have no desire to go some places that I used to go. I was just sitting here thinking, hell, I ain't even went and bought a bottle. I used to do that. And it's the spiritual thing really taking over. And it just, you get so absorbed in it, if you're really not conscious to it, you won't even think that, man, you know what, I ain't even went and did that. And I used to do that all the time. But that's why they say when you really come into that spiritual awareness, man, and like the journey that I'm on and we all doing, I'm looking forward to this fast because I ain't never really stuck to a fast.